know they tend to school by size.
Right.
Well, Andy, that's a nice fish, and I hate to say this because the fishing's finally turned on, but we got a big black cloud coming our way and the wind's picking up, and we better be safe. I think we gotta call it a day.
I agree, I agree.
But thank you so much for taking me out. This has been a blast, and I encourage people to try it, especially in the summer, man. It's a great way to stay cool.
Definitely is. Thanks for coming out.
Yep.
Judy and Andy were wise to get off the water when that storm came through. Here's Judy again with some safety tips to keep in mind when you fish from a float tube.
We're out on a beautiful summer day today, and we're going float tubing on a real small pond. And if you're going to go float tubing for the first time, there's some things I'd like to remind you about. First, of course, is safety. You're going to want to keep an eye on the sky and check the weather. Wind can kick up, a storm can blow in, and you want to make sure you have enough time to get off the water because you're kicking your way in and you're not going to have all this time to get off the water if you need to. Second, you need a PFD. This keeps you legal, keeps you safe. Mine happens to be an inflatable, so I just jerk on this cord. There's compressed air right here and it'll boom, inflate so that I will be safe. Another thing to realize too is that if you carry these into places, you're going to have these chambers that you can inflate, and you can do them with your lungs. But remember, if you're blowing in 98-degree air into all of these chambers, and then you take it and you put it on 50-degree water, that air is going to compress. And people are going to think, uh-oh, I'm sinking, and they're going to panic. And so just keep that in mind. Maybe bring a hand pump or something like that with you when you portage in so that you stay nice and safe on the water. Another feature of these are your flippers. You're going to want a pair. This will help you move through the water very smoothly and quickly. It'll keep you in position so that when you do get a wind like this, you're not spinning all over the lake, and it'll help you get in faster too if you need to. These are great. They come in a whole bunch of different styles and varieties. They've got pockets. I've seen them with cup holders. And some of them also can go down rapids, 3-class, 4-class rapids. You'll want to check, of course, the manufacturer, what they recommend you use them for. But I found them to be just absolutely wonderful tools. A lot of them have straps on the bottom so that you can put them on like a backpack and walk into your favorite lakes. And it gives you a great opportunity for some fantastic fishing on waters that are rarely touched. So next time, give float tubing a try and be sure to stay safe.
I'm here with Chuck Raleigh of Action Power Sports, obviously sitting on an ATV, and Chuck's going to give me a tip on how to climb hills. So Chuck, where do you start?
What you want to make sure that you do, most importantly, is put it in 4-wheel drive.
Okay.
That'll help the front wheels grab rather than want to pop over the top.
Okay.
And then you want to make sure you go in the lowest gear that's available to you.
Okay.
Then you want to make sure that your weight is distributed properly for the incline of the grade that you're climbing.
Okay, so lean forward a little bit, huh?
Correct. And then make sure your feet are parallel on the foot pegs. And then when you do get up and climb the hill, you want to make sure that you grab the tank with the inside of your knees.
Okay.
And that'll keep you real stable.
All right, well, that's a lot to remember, but let me give it a try. Okay, 4-wheel, neutral to start, low, break off, here we go.
Good luck.
Well, Chuck, how'd I do?
You did pretty well, except maybe lean not so far forward that the hill isn't quite that steep, and then make sure that you squeeze that tank to give you the stability so that you don't fall off.
Okay, yeah, I felt a little bit loose there. Well, we'll give it another try.
Okay.
Here we go. How was that?
That was much better, and it'll work.
Yeah, well, it felt a little more stable. Got any mountains to climb now?
Not here.
Each week during our 25th season, we'll feature a segment from one of our earlier years. In this week's segment from 2006, Mundy Carter gets bit by the honey bug on a visit to Honey Acres in Ashippun.
Hi, we're in Ashippun, Wisconsin, home to millions of dedicated workers. They've got 5 eyes and 6 legs, and they make some of the sweetest stuff on earth. We're in Honey Acres, where Walter Dienelt and his family have been making honey and honey products for 150 years. I spoke with master beekeeper and Honey Acres president Walter Dienelt, who informed me that Honey Acres is not only a honey factory with the power of over 18,000 beehives, but a museum dedicated to the history, arts, and sciences of beekeeping. So how long have you been here in Ashippun?
25 years.
25 years.
Yep.
And before this, you were
50 years in Menominee Falls.
50 years there.
And then 80 years on what is now Roosevelt and Fond du Lac Avenue in the city of Milwaukee.
You guys
And
just can't stay put.
That was miles from the city limits at Milwaukee. We like to say that my great-grandfather came to the United States with his beekeeping talents. We know he was the first beekeeper in Milwaukee County listed in any atlas. In fact, they had 12 acres of land in Milwaukee there.
Wow. 12 acres at Fond du Lac and Roosevelt.
Right.
I think there's a gas station there.
No, not now.
I don't know. I'm joking.
No, it's okay.
These old bee covers behind us,
Oh, the bee bowls.
they're bee bowls?
Yes. Now, that comes from the time when cattle were kept on an estate,
Yeah.
and if someone went out with them and herded them all day,
Uh-huh.
and then they brought them back into the compound at night. Now, if your beehives were out in the open, the cattle would knock them over. So, by putting them in a hole,
Uh-huh.
they were safe overnight.
Oh, so those would go over top of a hole, the hive would be down
No,
in the
the
hole?
skep, the straw skep is,
Oh.
is the beehive.
It's the hive itself.
Yeah, the skep is just a coiled up straw to make a place for the bees to live.
So how much honey will you get out of a hive?
We expect 120 pounds every year from each hive.
Speaking of hives, why don't we take a look at some hives?
Okay, we have a little weight on it so when we get a good windstorm, the covers don't blow off. And you can see some of the bees right up on top here.
So how many bees would be in a hive this size? Like how many bees are probably in this hive?
Oh, probably at this time of the year, 25,000. The bees glue everything together. You notice I have to have a tool to get it open. And you heard it crack.
Oh, because it's all sealed up with beeswax?
No, porpoise.
What is that called?
Porpoise. It's a resinous material.
Porpoise.
Yep, gathered from the buds of trees, mostly poplar trees, and it's used to seal up cracks and crevices.
So it's sort of bee insulation.
Well, yeah, kind of a caulking compound would be better.
Okay.
I don't know if it's any insulation.
And do bees drink a lot of beer?
No, they were saturated with a menthol to try to prevent the mites. We have a big problem with mites. This space between here and there is called the bee space. And you see it surrounds the entire frame. This is the liquid honey. You can see that shiny cells.
Oh. Now, why do bees make honey?
In order to survive winter.
That's their food stores.
That's a food source.
Walter is a living library of beekeeping science. In fact, he was so captivating, I barely noticed the dozens of bees flying up my shirt.
Since 1852.
Oh, I got stung. Ow!
Where is it? You want to get rid of this thing as fast as you can.
On the shoulder. I don't think you can. It's in my shirt. Okay.
Make sure you scratch it.
Okay.
Scratch it.